waiting for stuff, and then oh, we're late. But
I mean, only by a minute.
and our co-hosts are currently suffering through the snowpocalypse.
Okay, so they are in fact dead.
They're not dead.
Well, yeah, but I asked you if the snowpocalypse was killing them, if they were going to be unavailable due to the inclement weather.
I mean, probably. Ayrton has a wife who's going to be complaining about being cold, so he's going to have to do something about that.
Well, to be clear, Church is going to have children who are going to complain about the cold and the not being able to go outside in the snow. Ayrton has a wife and no children. I'm sure he and the wife will figure out some way to pass the time.
So, how has the week been for you, Joe?
Oh, it's been all right. Um, I have been keeping up on the best animated feature on TV currently. Um,
What's the
but I
best
did
animated feature on TV?
Primal.
Oh
Primal
yeah,
season 3.
Primal.
Yeah. Yet
I
again,
mean,
Kennedy Tartakovsky is owning face.
We almost had a Popeye movie made by Gindi, but Sony fucked that up for everybody.
Yeah, they decided they wanted to make Five Nights Slop instead.
Yeah, yeah.
But I never got a chance to watch the third episode of that show, of which we will not speak, but we will name now. Starfleet Academy, and you say it
Oh,
was worse than the previous two. So
it was. It was. So, pilots are funny things, right?
mhm.
So the two-parter, the episode 1 and 2, are technically pilot.
Okay.
Technically,
So
says
so
here
wait a minute. That first episode was extra long, wasn't it?
it was, and so was the second episode.
So this was like a 3-hour pilot.
Yes, which pilot movies totally think.
So it's again, we've talked about this before. It's not actually a series. It's a movie that they didn't feel confident enough to release in theaters, so
Oh
they
no, it's worse
chopped
than
it
that.
into pieces and made it
It's
a
worse
TV
than that.
show.
It's worse than that. But no, a pilot movie is a scheme that lots of the products have used to get on TV.
Right, but
That's
here's like a pilot movie that's 2 hours. I get that's two episodes glommed together. You could do that. A 3-hour pilot movie, right? That's if your series is 8 episodes long, that's more than half your fucking series.
so. Let's talk about the third episode.
Okay,
Let's talk about
all
the
right.
elephant in the room. You know how Holly Hunter's character has been lounging on things and talking about her feet? How she likes to walk around barefoot.
I mean, I wouldn't call Holly Hunter an elephant in the room. She's a little thing, but okay.
So this episode, she spent most of her time laying on a sofa or on a chair with her feet facing the camera. This is a
Are we trying to get Quentin Tarantino to make a Star Trek episode? What the fuck?
well, I mean, he does want to do a Star Trek, but this is not Quentin's jam for Star Trek. Um, and angry Jim Hadar woman has her scrawny lesbian girlfriend, and
Yep.
it's revealed to be a girlfriend, and they complain about missing out on dinner, and then dinner turns into date night. But let's talk about the plot, such as it is, of the episode.
Okay.
So we have the Federation War College operating adjacent to Starfleet Academy for some
Right.
reason.
Well, the thing is let's clarify. Let's take a step back and clarify. You and I have talked about this before, and due to being Gene Roddenberry, Starfleet Academy is basically Harvard, or considering it's in Stanford, it should probably be Berkeley,
Well, it's
right?
Harvard, Berkeley mixed with U.S. Naval Academy because
Right.
Gene was a sailor.
And this would imply that the War Academy is basically West Point. It's where the ROTC super kids go to become super officers.
Well, no, not in this show. That's what it would be if it were,
If
norm.
if it was made by hands who knew what they were doing.
Yes.
Okay.
In this case, it's just the school across town with the mean and angry prep kids.
I've said before that this is basically an anime plot for rival schools.
Yes. So, uh, everybody's doing gym day. They're training. They're learning their stuff. And Ice Alien Man was showing how cool he was because he got up at 4 to do his exercises. But Fish Girl, she gets up at 3:30.
But wait a minute, Larry, he's already cool. He's an Iceman.
I know. I don't know why he has to be super into that. And they introduce a new competitive sport into Star Trek.
Oh God, the Wizarding Cup. Okay, what is their Quidditch?
Uh, what? It's like, that laser tag that used to be super popular where there'd be like combat obstacle course laser tags?
Yeah.
It's that, but with holodecks and transporters.
Stupid motherfuckers. Stupid motherfuckers. It was right there in front of you, and you're trying to pander. You could have just picked up the easy meat.
Which easy meat?
There's a game. There's a very popular game from old school TOS or TNG rather that
Parisi Square.
we hear about it all the time. We have never seen it. Just do Parisi Squares.
Yes, that would have been, a good callback. Now, there's callbacks in shows all the time, right?
But,
right?
but
right?
no, it's going to be laser tag with teleporters and holodecks because if it's not super techy, you wouldn't know that it's Star Trek, right?
Right. Right. I mean, they could have had like, soccer or rugby, because those things will exist in the 30th century.
Baseball exists,
Well, baseball went away, but then it
right?
came back.
But well, because Cisco baseball was still a thing.
Well, it was a thing that had fans, and also Archer had his thing with water polo, which was really
Yeah.
fucking weird. I don't,
Cross.
yeah, there's all sorts of shit that you could have done, but they had this. So, our protagonist kids, Iceman and Fish Girl, they both want to be team captain because they view that as part of their path to becoming an elite officer.
Oh my God, Larry! I know that you're trying to use quippy names, but you've just revealed an undercurrent to the show they didn't want us to notice.
Mhm.
These two characters are a pop movie reference.
Yes.
It's Lava Girl and Shark Boy, but we swapped
Yeah.
their identities and we inverted the element. So it's Ice Boy and Fish Girl, and we're
Yeah.
not supposed to
Yeah.
notice,
Yeah. So,
but we did.
in the gym, uh, the kids from the War Academy, including a girl who's from a cousin species to the Romulans and the Vulcans. I think it was that one from that one episode where Deanna Troy and Picard had to impersonate the Vulcanoid subspecies that wasn't ready to join the Federation.
No, you're conflating a couple of things. Troy was not involved in that. It was they've had a species of distant Vulcan Romulan relatives, yes, and they were developing, but they were observing them in secret and got
Yeah.
spotted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because of a
So
misunderstanding, they decided that Picard was a god, so he had to come down and prove he wasn't.
yes, that's the episode I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So they had one of those in there, and she was just a cunt for no reason, and she was trying to emasculate the Iceman, and the way she was trying to emasculate the Iceman didn't work. Not just because her delivery was bad, but because his delivery was appropriate for his character. So the writing was bad. And then they started making fun of main character boy, who doesn't want to get involved in any of this shit. Because he's just a street rat who's being forced to get here because he's being blackmailed into getting a university education so he can find his mom. Which is an absolute shit motivation.
Well, it's because the show can't do what the show actually needs to do.
Hmm?
So stupid, random. It's gonna sound like a segue, but it's not. Moody and I are trying to join a game of Werewolf Online somewhere else as a test bed to see if the experiences in the World of Darkness are different if you play in a game where we are not intimately connected with the staff and the player base. Right?
Okay. Okay.
Basically, are the rules the same, or is community a facet of whether or not a
Community's a
game works?
facet. Community's a facet in how they observe rules.
Right. But the thing is that if you're a skilled player, can you still ascend and succeed? Does your experience apply, or is it really more about the group? There's a lot of things we want to know. This is data we're trying to accumulate.
Hmm.
But you got me, you got David, you got Moody, and you got Adam, right? So literally a wrecking crew of individuals. And we were gonna make PIs, but we said, you know what? Maybe we go even funnier. Maybe we actually just make straight up cops, right? So you got 4 werewolves in the Lodge of the Shield, in the police force in Phoenix, right?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Um, staff is flipping out a little bit. They didn't want people to be cops. They didn't say you couldn't, but they didn't want you to be. Okay, well, we'll talk about it. We're negotiating it out. There's a bit of give and take. There's a bit of a talking about. And
Well,
one of the
this is let me put a pin here. This is going to be very relevant later for another thing we're going to talk about.
oh sure, but one of the elements that has essentially come up is trying to explain to these STs, well, why would these characters even be cops, right? And trying to explain the idea that being a cop is a chosen restraint on
Mhm.
werewolf behavior, because otherwise the things you could do are unspeakable,
Mhm.
right? It's a morality button. And the thing is
Mhm.
that some people excel in that environment. Cops are body centric. They're tough. They have a spirit to core. Some people do really well when you both challenge them on a interpersonal and physical level, and they have to essentially work together as a team.
Mhm.
This is the nuance that Starfleet Academy should be using, right? That
Yes.
through competition, the weaknesses in the individual are winnowed away and the strengths come to the surface. The professional emerges. But
I
they're
mean
not
that
going to
is
do that because they
they
want
don't know.
to they want to
They,
pander to the emotional.
also, they don't know anybody who's actually gone through that life experience. So our misfit toy characters all come together to join the team.
The bad
Our
news bears.
Yes, yes. Our protagonist doesn't want to join the team, but Fish Girl forges his entry onto the team, and then the
Which still
rivals
doesn't fucking work.
the
I've seen that
rivals
used in so many things where it's like, well, I forged your name, so now you're in. It's like, that doesn't fucking work. That
and
has
then
never worked.
the War Academy started a prank war, and their prank war was to transport them semi-naked into various places around the academy.
Yet again, better done in other movies. Major Pain,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
right? It's a tradition. We steal the trophy. Okay, well, did you get it? No. Did you want it? Oh, yeah. Well, you gonna earn it, or are you gonna try and steal it? I guess we're gonna earn it.
So um, the teacher's like going, "Oh no, there's a prank war," and Holly Hunter is like, "No, I'll handle it." And by handling it, she gives the kids the idea for how to prank the War College. How? By having a Cthulhu fungus creature expand and explode in their school.
Fuck you, not Holly Hunter, but whoever wrote this, because you clearly watched a movie and then didn't understand that movie.
Now, the B plot is our protagonist uses this shenanigans to get into the War College and talk to the Beta Z girl he likes.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, you think you're entitled to me. And he does. And you know, this could be interesting nuance if this was written from the purpose of being a teen melodrama romance. And if our protagonist boy has to have like a guy in the war college who's trying to be all around this girl, and like this beta Z empath is actually manipulating these guys because she's kind of a cunt. Because he's the bad boy, she's really a bad girl, even though her daddy's the president of the planet. It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But they don't do that. Also, the Ice Boy ends up becoming team captain, but he's kind of shit at it. So Fish Girl takes over, which is not how you do this. What you do is you use that as an opportunity to build a character
All right.
up.
Let me amend. It is how you do it if you're smart about the media you're making. See, there's an episode of DS9, I've mentioned it in passing previously, where everybody's playing baseball. And Cisco is the coach because he's, of course, the master of baseball. He loves the sport. The thing is that his presence is so toxic, so solvent to the success of the team that he has to remove himself from authority to let the team come into its own. Right? The thing is
that is clearly what the person who wrote this episode saw on Memory Alpha, but didn't actually watch the episode on Memory on DS9.
Right, but here's the thing: it's even deeper because there's another film that I have seen, lesser known film, from the tail end of the Soviet Union or just after the Soviet Union, about a Russian baseball team. The Russians are going to make their own baseball team, and they're going to compete in the World Series, which is not really a World Series.
Well, no, they have a World Baseball Cup thing.
Right.
Was that an HBO movie?
I'm sorry, what?
I think it was an HBO movie.
Yes. You know this movie.
I am familiar.
Right. It has the same subtext. Their coach, who does make them a team and does get them playing together, has to remove himself at the 11th hour, not because he doesn't have faith in them, but because they're trying too hard. They're trying to impress him, not playing for the love of the game. Because he earlier in the film he finds them, he basically catches them playing baseball without being told to train, and they're actually really good, right? But what's being described is basically performance anxiety.
Yes.
Right? But and in that context, if you said the problem is that Fish Boy is so or Ice Boy is so hardcore that everybody's wound up tight, and Fish Girl has the right stuff to even them out and get them working together, that would be fine.
Yeah, but that's not what they do.
Okay. Well, because for one, they have to own the dudes. Of course, a girl's a better leader, right?
Also, the person who wrote this didn't play sports.
The thing is, I am not a sportsman, but there are sports I enjoy. You can love something and not do it. But if you're going to work with it, you should have the respect to get to understand it.
And the head of the war college declares uncle on the whole prank war, and the kids win the game, but nobody learns anything.
No, nobody learns anything because learning things is not part of this show. And I don't mean learning stuff like, and we learned a very special lesson today. It's team. I mean, no, like, it's not about a school experience. Because aren't they supposed to be maintaining classes and shit in the meantime of all this other garbage?
Yeah, they do. They have at least 2 classes that they use as framing devices every episode. It's not good. It's not good.
It's not good, and it it is annoying because it reveals to me where they could actually take their stupid ass characters
Mhm,
and make them look valuable, and then they don't.
mhm. Well,
See,
like
I go ahead.
they could go to the U.S. Naval Academy. They could go to Berkeley. They
Well,
could go to Harvard. They could go to Sandringham. They could go to all these elite institutions and get a sense of what these schools are actually like, and then write that.
well, the thing is, I grasped earlier that someone had seen a movie but didn't understand it. Okay,
Mhm.
and I am gonna pull out a very good movie. We're gonna go very high end for a moment because Church and Ayrton aren't here, so we're gonna be top hats and monocles for a minute.
Mhm, mhm.
Do you recall the particulars of Dead Poets Society?
I do. Dead Poets Society is a great movie.
It is a great movie. We miss you, Rob. We really
Robin
do.
Williams. Robin Williams deserves all the credit and praise he got as an actor for that movie.
Pour one out for Robin Williams. We will honor his Warcraft character forever. Uh, he was a big fan of some weird shit. He was a literally like anyone who goes on and is like Roger Ebert was one of us. No, he wasn't. Robin Williams was one of us. Um, but in Dead Poets Society, the poetry class decides to bring back the Dead Poets Society, which was a fallen informal club that Robin Williams had told them, "Oh, I don't think the current administration would approve of it," but he didn't stop them from doing it, right?
Hmm.
So when they did something stupid, Robin Williams showed up at their rooms and he remarked to them very politely that he understood that what they were taking from his class and they were seizing the day as you do, carpe diem, excellent, but that carpe diem didn't mean choking on the bone. Just a polite reminder to know when to stop, right? And the reason that this aggravates me, not this scene, but why it aggravates me in relation to Starfleet Academy. You come to Holly Hunter, you tell Holly Hunter they've started the prank war, and all of the emphasis should be on stop the prank war because officialdom rules structure, right?
No, no. She argues the prank war is necessary to build up the esprit de corps of the students of the academy, and to
Right.
make
You
them
say that. Right.
feel like they're valid and
But
blah
here's
blah
the thing.
blah.
Here's the thing. You say that privately. You say that to
They do.
Drill Sergeant
They say
Paynas,
that they do. They do. They sell.
right?
That's what she tells her.
But then as you by your description, Holly Hunter is involved in helping them with the prank war. That's a
Yes.
step too far. That's the
Yes.
part you don't do.
But you see, here's the thing. She gets involved by implying an idea to them that they eventually seize on their own.
Right. But she shouldn't be doing that. They should be figuring it out on their own, thus proving they're smart enough to think it up, right? While
Mhm,
she, while not stopping them, outright says, you know, if there was a prank war, I would
mhm,
have to say I don't approve of it.
mhm,
If there was a
mhm.
prank war, but there's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Now, now we're gonna tip out of this into something else that's not good.
Is this the thing we had a pin in?
No,
Okay, we're
no.
not there yet.
We're saving that because that's something that's good.
Okay.
So, there's a new Chris Pratt movie.
Okay.
So, the thing about this Chris Pratt movie is I'm going to disrespect it. I'm going to disrespect it by talking about what it's ripping off first. Do you
I,
remember the movie Minority Report?
I mean, I do, but are we disrespecting Chris Pratt, who seems like he's kind of base, or is it just he's in a bad movie?
He's in a bad movie. We're disrespecting
Okay,
the movie.
okay. We don't have a problem with Chris Pratt.
So you remember the movie Minority Report?
I do remember Minority Report.
What makes that a good movie?
Um, source material for one. It's a good short story. as I
I mean,
recall.
it's a Dick story, if I remember
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's by Philip K. Dick. But I am going to make the argument, the contentious argument, that the goodness or badness of Minority Report almost entirely hinges on the quality of the actors, the emotional content the actors bring to the material.
Mhm.
Okay, and this is very important because here's the thing. First of all, you have Max von Sydow as a bad guy. Spoilers. Max von Sydow is the bad guy. Then you have um uh, uh what's his name from Mission Impossible? Tom Cruise as the primary actor. And I want to say, because I always confuse it's not that I confuse them, but I can never remember which is which in the movies they're in. Is it Colin Farrell or is it Brad Pitt that is or is it Carl Urban that is trying to catch Tom Cruise?
I think it's Carl Urban.
Carl Urban. But, they have a second leading man that is trying to catch Tom Cruise, who is on the run, fugitive style. This was a Steven Spielberg joint, right?
Mhm.
And the actual story by Dick, quite good, but there are a bunch of things about the film that I would actually say are trash if the actors involved hadn't given half a fuck, right? Because that's the thing, is that a lot of Minority Report's mystique that it basically dines on is the credit of who's involved
Mhm.
making it good, right? So, like, for instance, Colin Farrell, who was in the remake of Total Recall opposite Bryan Cranston, right? That remake's not bad. It's not as good as the Arnold one by a country mile, but it's not bad, right? So why is it so heavily panned? Well, because it didn't have Steven Spielberg, Carl Urban, Tom Cruise, and Max von Sydow in it, right? Um, so what makes it good is actually a very contentious conversation. But having said all of those names, it's very clear I understand the context of Minority Report. I know what the story is. I know where we're going. So
So
how does this
let's
Pratt movie fail that?
well hold up. Well, hold up. So wouldn't you say
Okay.
one of the things that was good about this movie is Tom Cruise's character goes out and solves the mystery. He
Yeah,
faces challenges. He's
right.
hunted. He has to break back into the center of pre-crime to steal one of the psychics to try to
Yeah.
get more
He
evidence. All of that.
he hits the required beats for a protagonist, which is that he is not reactive to a situation, he is active in his situation
Okay.
throughout. He's a primary actor.
Okay. And also, wouldn't you say another thing that makes this very good is the precogs themselves as,
No.
victims that are being
No.
no,
Okay.
hold up.
Okay.
I'm going somewhere with this.
All right.
Wouldn't you see the precogs as victims, as people that are being used by an abusive state and who later get to be free and be humanized because they're no longer part of this oppressive system?
As a as
Wouldn't
a
you say
very
that's a good
as
element?
a as a very broad element, sure.
So the Chris Pratt movie, which is called Mercy, by the way,
Okay.
what if instead of Chris Pratt going out and doing a Tom Cruising protagonist kind of adventure, he's stuck in a chair talking to an AI for 90% of the movie?
Is Chris Pratt the precog?
No,
Okay.
he's the guy accused of the crime.
Okay.
And for part of the time while he's talking to the AI, he also talks to other people on FaceTime, and they go do things.
Is it like in a black void? Is it a room? How do they arrange this?
Well, he's in a special courtroom, and he can talk to any of the police that are connected to the AI through the computer network of the city.
To what? Prove his innocence?
Yes, because that's how this system works. So things get so bad that there are certain crimes that are so horrible, they put you immediately in an AI chair, and you got like 2 hours to solve your crime, to convince the computer that you're guilty, you're not guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, which is defined as under 98 point something percent.
I assume he proves himself innocent and walks.
Yes, but it gets dumber.
Okay.
So not only is he accused of a crime and he's in the AI death chair, he was the first cop to catch somebody and send him to the AI death chair. And the guy he sends to the AI death chair is the brother of his AA sponsor. And his partner hides exculpatory evidence because the city of Los Angeles is in such bad shape, it needs the magic of the chair to convince people that things can be safe again.
So not only does it fail a trope that I hate personally, but it fails to understand the thesis of Minority Report.
Right. So here's the story as it's initially presented to you. Heart cut open. Chris Pratt is waking from a hangover,
Mm-hmm.
and he's given the narration explaining what the system is, so that through him, the audience can understand what's going on. And it's like, oh yeah, you were drunk, you left work, and then you somehow stabbed your wife to the point that it was so violent that it broke off part of her vertebrae. And you were arrested at a bar, getting even drunker. Other cops had to beat you up. And once you got sober enough to be able to be tried, we put you into the chair. And he has to go through, normal grief before his cop brain activates enough for him to figure out what's going on, leaving him only 45 minutes to solve the crime.
Wait, they wouldn't wait for him to work through the emotional trauma first, then put him in the chair?
No,
But wouldn't the computer recognize that if he's emotionally compromised by grief that he can't give suitable testimony, therefore appeals are in place?
well, no, there's no appeals. If you fail the chair, you get executed immediately.
Right, but I'm saying if it's a 98% correct conviction rating.
No, it's a 98% to reach guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Right, but what I'm saying is that if the computer is smarter than you, the computer would say, you can't actually give me credible evidence.
Right. But it's not about you. It's about you going through the testimony, which, again, if you're in an emotional state, you can't sort through. It's dumb. It's dumb. Also,
This is basically not Minority Report. This is more about like apology tours.
well, it's kind of Minority Report. It's about, alternate justice using technology that's basically magic, and how that, isn't right, but they they trip on the premise. So
They tripped hard. They tripped and they smashed their fucking face.
once they go through all of this, he admits to being an alcoholic. He wants to talk to his daughter, but he doesn't get to talk to his daughter. Finds out the daughter has a secret Instagram burner account and stuff to imply that maybe his daughter killed the mother. They find out the mother was having an emotional affair, talking to a guy who lives in one of the dangerous criminal zones on a burner phone, and he's a black guy. So LAPD violently assaults a black guy to interrogate him because of a white guy being tried for murder. So it's a very interesting political message they put in there. And also, I mentioned how his partner hid evidence so that the system of executions could be done. She's a black woman. Very interesting choice.
So first of all, why would you say something so brave? But that's neither here nor there. again, they fundamentally misunderstand the thesis of Minority Report, and it is horrifying for me to think that Philip K. Dick, who was on more LSD and weird burnout than the average human being,
And
still schizophrenic, still has better moral context than a modern writer.
But wait, there's more. He finds out that she was having a problem at work, and they were stealing precursor chemicals for making meth. But in the process of doing that, he finds out that that was also a red herring, because the guy who's his AA sponsor kidnaps his daughter, and then evidence associated with that makes the court realize, oh wait, this guy killed his wife because of this connection to this other case.
You know why this hurts me, Larry? Because they're making Rian Johnson right.
Mm-hmm. But wait, it's even better. Chris Pratt tricks the computer into extending his case, even though he's proven himself innocent, so he can use the computer's powers to get the bad guy arrested.
I will say again, they're just proving Rian Johnson right, and that bothers me.
Well, I mean, I don't think it proves him right. I think it proves that they're both bad at writing mysteries.
No. Here's the thing. Rian Johnson doesn't like drawing room mysteries, and he did his fucking Knives Out series to shame them for their very existence. Right? And we all agreed that was bullshit. We swore up and down that's bullshit.
Yes.
Okay. So here's the thing. First, I'm gonna be the meme. No, it's just dumb. But let's move on. Let's talk about the nature of the dumb. So, Minority Report. What is the thesis of Minority Report? It's that pre-crime doesn't work. Why doesn't pre-crime work? Well, there's a bunch of reasons. But if we're going to talk about the mechanical reasons why it doesn't work, which were the entire crux of the mystery that Tom Cruise had to uncover, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was the idea that at a certain level, no matter how advanced your information gathering system is, interpretation can lead to dissent, right?
Yes.
One psychic saw the murder that was absolutely going to happen, and they grabbed that guy, right? And one person in the organization, played by Max von Sydow, who understood the time differentials in the recording process, was able to then use that pre-information to set himself up to commit a murder that would look identical to the murder already seen, so that the two psychics of the three would not be able to agree about what they were looking at, because it would look like ghost data. Right? And the entire point of the film is resolving that differential, revealing that the system was subject to abuse, that we in fact don't need pre-crime, that as bad as our system is now, it is better than trusting in that basically the hand of God to bail you out.
Yes.
Right? So now we look at this Chris Pratt film. One, we're using a pre-crime system that has a bunch of questions that are unanswered, right? The fact that Philip K. Dick, for his Minority Report, said it's just psychics. We're just going to use psychics. He instantly doesn't have to explain anything, right? But this is a computer. Computers require a certain level of mechanical explanation.
Yes.
Right? Then you have not just a cast of characters and interactions, but a cast of characters and interactions that increasingly make no sense.
Yes.
Because for every time they expand out and they essentially double the effect, right? There's another revelation and another revelation and another revelation. And these revelations don't contribute. They don't interact with each other, right? And then out of nowhere you have, well, his partner, the black woman, is going to cover up evidence.
No, she already did.
Right.
She already did.
Because the society needs the chair. No, we clearly don't. The chair does not work. But But society is so awful, and our trust in the police is so low. This doesn't make it better. If anything, this proves that that the human components of the system do not work because the
Mhm.
machine doesn't fucking work,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
You
And
see, that's why Minority Report is better, because Minority Report says no, this doesn't work. We shouldn't do it.
and the thing, and the horrible part is that we've talked about this before. This is the third time we've talked about this. What was the last time we talked about this, Larry? Do you recall?
I don't.
Civil War II. The
Oh yeah,
entire
yeah,
crux
yeah,
of
yeah.
Civil War II is pre-crime.
Which is
We've
stupid.
for 20 years we've been saying pre-crime doesn't work. Stop doing pre-crime stories.
Now let's talk about you throw this plot away, throw it away in the garbage can. But we keep all the key pieces, right? Chris Pratt wakes up from a drunken stupor, trying to get himself sorted out, get his things sorted out. He calls his AA sponsor. His AA sponsor says something to him, and he realizes that there's something wrong. We don't show that to the audience yet, but that's the starting point of him building the framework to saying, this is the guy who did it. Here's how I know this is the guy who did it. But instead, you got 3 red herrings. You got a whole bunch of dumb melodrama. No, you just make it the detective stuck in the chair, gun to his head. He has to prove his innocence. It's
Right.
a classic noir detective situation.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna propose how you do this a little different, keeping what you're working with, but also better. And here's a big one that we usually don't talk about: cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Chris Pratt has 2 hours drunk or hungover and grieving to prove his innocence. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You put him in the chair. You put the headset on him. You inject him. He's not asleep. It's a local. It makes him open.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He is now not in a courtroom, but he's in a chamber. Okay. And a person approaches him, basically a gray man, and will even go so far as to say that it's the guy that played Malcolm from Firefly. It's
Okay. Okay.
what's his name? Why him? Because
Billion.
this is a Rick and Morty joke with extra steps, but I'm not making a
Mm-hmm.
joke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Hi, I'm your digital assistant. I'm here to help you go through the events of your thing." It's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, you've got 2 hours to prove your case. Okay, we're gonna go through your memories to prove your case. You can't lie to yourself,
I mean,
right?
that would be a system that is definitely more appropriate for justice.
Right.
Because if there was brain damage, that would be determined through the investigatory process. And then you say,
Right.
well, this person has too much brain damage to be held culpable for his crimes.
Right. So now Chris Pratt plus essentially a human being who's representing the computer as a
Mm-hmm.
hologram or as a mental projection are going to go through the events leading up to his wife's death, basically trying to solve the crime like a cop show, like a cop drama, right? So it's like, well, we got to drive there. It's like, why do you have to drive? Why do I have to drive there? It's a memory. It's like, because you remember driving there, so you're going to remember driving, right? And time condensed because it's your brain, right? But it's all internally consistent. So you can't fly. It's not the Matrix. You can't invent stuff because it's your memories as you remember them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you have Chris Pratt show that he's actually a really good cop because he spots the incongruities,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which means you're also got like a level of Shutter Island going on,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, have Chris Pratt catch the bad guy. Have it revealed that the chair works, but the chair's not reliable and the system is flawed and society has problems, but we can do better. That's fine. But you need to parse it in a way that everything that happens feels consistent and that everything that happens doesn't feel like an ass pull. Okay? Because Chris Pratt could not invent, oh, and my wife was getting the precursor drugs for meth. If he didn't know it, he couldn't invent it. And why would
Right.
he?
Because his character's just like, oh, she works at a big chemical company that transports chemicals.
Well, let's see. Because here's the thing. This is extra funny. You have the AI assistant here, right? And he's like, well, my evidence, because he can pull evidence from anywhere. He can pull from all those systems, and is representing basically the prosecution, right? He says, "Did you know that your wife was acquiring all of these precursor drugs, which, when I analyze them, just happen to go into methylamine creation, right?" And then Chris Pratt has to use what he knows to try and explain the evidence and be like, well, yeah, but those chemicals could go into any number of other things. It might not have been crystal meth. I mean, who knows, right? And then you can have that tie into something else in the case, in the story, that leads to a revelation, that leads to a solution,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That would almost be like set up and payoff, the two fundamental building blocks of a story, especially in a visual media.
Well, good news for you, Joe. We're going to
Okay.
talk about a movie that does that
Okay.
called The Rip. It's a movie starring and created by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Okay, who by the way recently discovered that Armageddon is in the Criterion Collection?
Yeah, yeah. Ben
Ben,
did that.
Ben Affleck and Matt Damon have been in a lot of our posts recently. They're apparently having a bit of a blue collar renaissance right now.
I mean, they're smart guys. They're
They are
smart.
smart guys, but they're also lacking in pretension. They are very upfront about the number of fucks they do not give.
So it's a cop drama, right?
Oh, so we're
Or
back
at
to
least
cops. Okay, cool. This is what we
so
had to pin in.
so it's a cop drama, but it doesn't stay a cop drama, at least not
Okay.
strictly. So it starts off, FBI is interrogating elite drug team in Miami. Their captain got murdered. Everybody suspects dirty cops because they just took down another elite Miami cop team for being dirty.
Okay.
And not Matt Damon, Ben Affleck's getting laid into by the lead FBI agent who is his kid brother.
I mean, that's not how that works, but okay.
Well, no. It is how that works here because he's the guy who's got the connections in Miami, so he's the lead FBI investigator because he knows everybody.
Yeah, but generally the system takes steps to make sure that like your direct overseer is not related to you.
Oh no, he's investigating him, and that's normally not appropriate. But they're also known not to particularly like each other. They're those kind of brothers.
I see.
Uh, where
If some justice guy tried to be like bias, they'd be like, "Have you met my brother?"
yeah, exactly. And Ben Affleck is playing the, not dirty cop, but the guy who's kind of gritty and kind of salty cop.
makes some questionable adjustments based on the situation.
Right. And his best friend took over when the captain got murdered. Best friend played by his actual best friend Matt Damon,
Cool.
who's trying to get his boss, the major, to give him extra man hours and extra resources to investigate the death of his captain, who's also his girlfriend, but it was also Ben Affleck's girlfriend. That's a whole other fucked up thing. We're not going to get into that. What those boys do in their own time is their own business. And after Ben Affleck and his brother get into a little bit of a scuffle during interrogation, Matt and Ben are going out, and Matt says, Ben says to Matt, we need to chum up the water. We need to do something, see what comes up. That's how we find our killer. That is your setup. So we move on. The Miami cops are, hanging out near the end of the day. They're drinking. They're shooting the shit with the DEA agents, and Matt Damon's character is looking at a tip. It says, "Found this house, lots of cartel money." Okay. So Ben shows up. Not Ben. Yeah, Matt shows up, and he gets called by the DEA guy, dirtiest cop in Miami, and he starts telling everybody in the team a different story about what they're going to go get at this drug house. And you don't think anything of it at the time, either that or he's just like messing with him. You think maybe he is a crooked cop, maybe he's lying about the money so he can steal the money. And you don't know. You absolutely don't know. Because when he talked to Ben initially, he said, I really fucking hate being a cop. I'm just fucking tired of it. And so you're thinking, is this a dirty cop story? Are they going to steal some stuff? Because, Miami, dirty cop story, drug money, we're all down for that, right? That's how that works.
Yeah, all the pieces are there.
Yeah. And they go to this house. They cajole a young woman into letting them come in and search the house in violation of her rights because she lets them in. For anybody listening to this show at home, don't let the cops into your house if you're hiding secret drug money. Now, Matt Damon
Or
does not.
hide your drug money real good. Like,
Yeah. Well, Matt Damon tells everybody on his team that there's a different amount of drug money. Tells one guy 300,000, one guy 150, another one 200, another one 75. The actual amount of money is almost $21 million.
I mean, here's the thing. I understand this is plot, but if I was a bad guy doing a bad thing, that is almost a brilliant level of chicanery.
Oh yeah,
Because
and that's the thing.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. You steal the money, right?
Mhm.
You turn in the difference, but
Mhm.
since no one has the same amount, there's no codified idea of how much money there actually was. So what you give, as long as it is within a range of acceptable relative to the lowest amount, is true.
Yes, and that is exactly the way they write it to make you think that. And the
Right.
actors' performances are all grounded in that. One of the
Wow.
cops
That is some
does,
bullshit I would pull.
yes, one of the cops does something that makes you think, oh my God, is he snitching on his squad? Are these group of Miami drug cops dirty? What? We have Ben Affleck going to Matt Damon's character going like, what the fuck are you talking about? You got a Crime Stopper that said there was this much money here. Bullshit. Your Crime Stopper didn't tell you there was 330,000 here and we found millions of dollars in fucking orange buckets. Show me the Crime Stopper report. Show me that or you're fucking bullshitting me. Call the major. We need to follow proper protocol here. What do you mean we're not following proper protocol? That's some fucking bullshit. So, again,
That makes me upset because of what I was just talking about with this other game, because
Mhm.
that was the debate we were having with the staff. We were saying no, by being cops, we have to follow procedures, and those
Mhm.
procedures give you STs tools to control us. Like, we
Yes.
can't just draw our guns and fire all the time. We have to track every time we pull from the holster and every bullet fired. We have to use body cams. We have to
Mhm.
log our travel.
Yes. Yes, but again, I'm this is why I said put a pin in this. The girl who's living in the drug house was her grandma's. Her grandma died. House is in probate. She and her sister are fighting over it. So technically, anything that's in this house, she's not accountable for it. Her nana lives in this house. How the fuck is she supposed to know what's going on? And also, since she doesn't technically own the house, there's a legal argument that she didn't have the right to consent to the search, even though she consented to the search. So she's the perfect person to sit on this drug money. But they then later reveal she was also previously a confidential informant for the police because she had a boyfriend who's a fucked up drug dealer. These are what we call setups. And so the guy who you think initially is a good cop, thinks everybody else is dirty, tells Ben Affleck, hey, is there something fucked up over that house? And Ben goes, yeah, it's Morse code. It's flashing pigs. And he goes to investigate it. And then Matt Damon asks this other guy, "Are you fucking rat?" And again, the way everything's set up, you think, "Oh shit, Matt's dirty. He's gonna steal this money." Because, like you said, no one fucking knows how much money there's actually here. I mean, anything can happen, right? And in this initial fog, and also while there's this initial fog, there's a literal fog in the scene. It's a pervasive, paranoid, almost horror movie like thing, right?
Wait a minute. So we have a movie where you have both a setup and a payoff,
Mhm.
and because it's a visual medium, someone has used a visual to create a sense of drama.
And dread.
Like not an actual statement like where somebody goes, "Man, I'm feeling really uncomfortable," but like instead a visual cue to infer a feeling. Holy shit.
Yes. And also, Matt Damon says some things that when you look at them from how the camera shot is initially done, you think, "Oh shit, he's going to the two female cops and they're working on a number to steal." But when you later recontextualize the shot, when there's the denouncement scene, which we're going to get to in a minute, it's recontextualized with, "That's what she told you. But did she really tell you that, or did this happen?" And you realize all of his hand motions and his body motions, which in the initial flow of the scene, you think, "Oh, this is just his gestures." But when you contextualize this with the fact that he suspected someone on the team was dirty, this was him setting up for that payoff.
Now you could stop there. But if
Oh,
you
wait,
let
no,
the
no.
camera keep rolling.
Mhm. But Matt, Ben, and the other guy get into a little shootout with somebody, right?
Right.
Ben had called the DEA guy saying, "Listen, I need a bailout. Shit's going sideways." Because at that point in the movie, Ben Affleck believed Matt Damon was probably dirty.
Right.
Then they go to this drug house where there's a guy from the fucking cartel there who gets his cartel boss on FaceTime. And the cartel boss says, "Listen, man, we don't have anything to do with you being shot. This whole situation is so fucked up. You do whatever you fucking want to do with that money."
Yeah.
So the cartels are giving up $20 million. Why?
That's weird.
No. A Miami police captain got killed. If her squad gets killed in the process of trying to recover that money, they're going to lose more than $20 million. They're going to lose considerably more.
Right.
So for the cartel, just letting them steal that money, that's the cost of doing business.
Wait a minute. Crime guys being smart? Say it ain't
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. And then they're about to take the money away, but the house sets on fire.
Of course. The house full of money.
No. They
Wait a minute.
take the money. Wait. No.
No. Like, wait a minute. A house full of money that sets on fire where no one knows how much money was in there. That would be like covering a crime.
That is exactly what the movie wants you to think at that point in the movie.
Here's the thing. I haven't even seen this movie, and I'm putting together the plot that the film wants me to think. This is an excellent film.
I mean, it's almost like Matt and Ben won Oscars for writing Good Will Hunting. Oh, wait, they did.
Right, but here's what I'm getting at, though. You and I, we have watched a bunch of stuff in our time, right? And we have described a bunch of movies on this show of all kinds of stripes in
that
our
are not
time.
well written.
That are not well written, and they always have kind of the same result. It's not that we're not listening, it's not that we don't care about what we're saying, but we get like really mentally exhausted because we're like trying to follow a thread and the threads keep slipping and they keep going in weird places, and it's like, what the fuck's going on? No, this one, even told secondhand, is so tight. I can put together the thread of plot, and that's amazing.
Oh yeah. Now, before they got shot at, there was an old car. They moved to give themselves cover for dealing with the firearms exchange.
Yeah.
But there's the fire. They go out. The DEA guys show up. They put the bags of money in the DEA guy's car. The two female cops are going, "No, we need to go with you." He's like, "No, you got to stay with her." And the way the actors portray it, because these are professionals who are doing a good job. The female actors just make you think, "Oh shit, Matt Damon's dirty. He's going to take the two male cops with the DEA guys, kill some people, and escape with a metric fuck ton of money."
You know what?
Screw every.
You know what? This gives me an answer to a question that I have had in the back of my mind for years. Ben Affleck knows Batfleck was terrible.
He does. He wasn't able to get it done the way he wanted it to.
Right. Well, that's the
And-
thing. If he could have been Bruce Wayne and Batman like he wanted, and had been able to do the movie he wanted to do, it would have been amazing. Right.
Mhm.
But Zack Snyder was going to Snyder it, and it was rife with corporate interference, and so he just did the minimum required of him, which is why it
Mhm.
feels like it's phoned in, and he's just present.
Now we get to the denouncement. We
The
have-
denouement? Oh wow.
The denouement. We have Ben and Matt. We have Asian guy. We have the DEA guy. They're all in the back of the DEA armored vehicle. And the guy goes, "He's a rat. He's this, he's that," and said, blah, blah, blah. And then Ben Affleck's character turned to him and said, "And how the fuck did the guys who shot up our house know about $150,000? He's like, "What?" Matt says, "Yeah, I told each of you a different number because I didn't know who I could trust. I only let him in on it just recently," and he points to Ben Affleck. And they're like, like, "Yeah." He said, "You got a burner. Give it to me." "I don't have a burner." It's like, "Yeah, I know, because I picked it off of you during the fight that I had with Matt Damon." So he and Matt had a fight when he said, like, "You're fucking dirty," like two bros doing it, and the Asian guy pulled him
Oh,
off,
this is-
and he used that as an opportunity
This
to
is
lift the
fucking
burner.
creamy. I love this.
Yes, absolutely.
This is the deepest cop movie since Training Day.
Oh yeah, no, it's on par with things like Training Day and Heat, that high quality.
Oh yeah.
And then he says, "So, how about you dial the phone number of the guy you were texting, and who you let know about the $150,000?" Dialed the number. It's a fucking DEA guy. The DEA guy's in league with the former dirty homicide cops. And there's a little bit of a firearms exchange, and he's saying, "Listen, listen. We can work this out. We can come up with a plan. There's enough money. We can all run away. We can all be rich, live like kings." And Ben Affleck dials his phone, puts it on speaker, says, "You're on speaker." And the voice on the phone is his brother, says, "Are you on your way?" "Yeah." "You have eyes on me?" "Yeah." Blah, blah, blah. And then the DEA guy keeps going, keeps confessing to his guilt while he's on the phone with the guy he knows is the lead FBI anti-police corruption investigator for Miami, on the speakerphone with him.
Wow.
So people run because criminals in a bad situation run. Matt chases down the Asian cop, beats him up, gets him to be arrested because he can confess to what the DEA guy did, go to jail. Ben Affleck murders the guy who killed the woman he loved, who was the DEA agent, who was his friend, but he was crooked as hell. And turns out the two female cops and the lady at the house drove the old station wagon. They had all the buckets of money, and the money matched what they counted. None of the cops in the thing were dirty, except for the one Asian guy. And he went to jail.
That is amazing.
They got justice for their dead captain. And Ben Affleck's character, had that piece from finding justice. And Matt Damon's character, who's been going through some things because of, he had a kid who died of drugs. He's in medical debt. He needed a win. He got the new job. He finally got the win. He feels secure. That's how they end the movie.
And yet somehow Sinners got 16 Oscar nods.
Well, now this is a new movie. This might get Oscar nods later, but this is a smart movie. It was made for Netflix. Netflix didn't make them make this movie dumb, which was very smart of Netflix. And again, when you hear us now complaining about bad writing, please, please, please put a sticky note on this episode, on this moment. This is us explaining what good writing looks like. This is us explaining what good writing combined with good directions and good acting performances look like. You don't know that Matt Damon's character is dirty, but his performance indicates he could be dirty. I mean, he's a Miami cop on an elite drug task force. There's just stupid amounts of drugs and money. Of course he's dirty. You got Ben Affleck's character, like a Serpico sort of guy, like a Johnny, Brasco sort of guy. Those guys always get dirty because they're edgy cop boys. You got the sassy black cop on the bike. You got the sexy Latino with 2 kids and child support. All of these people fit our preconceived notions of what potentially crooked cops might be like. You got the fresh-faced Asian guy who's always the, I was always the secret criminal the whole time. And they all perform just vaguely enough that any of them could be the crook at any point in time. You don't know why Matt Damon's giving everybody a different figure. Your immediate first thought is, oh, he's confusing the subject matter so he can pocket some cash.
Right.
Yeah.
My immediate visceral assumption is he's trying to pull a fast one because he doesn't want to be here anymore.
Yeah. They set everything up and it gets paid off. But the cherry on top, the good guys are actually good. They save the day. The woman who is living in the drug house, who's in a fucked up situation with her sister, she gets to cut off the drug money because confidential informants that help the state recover drug money get a percentage. She got $4 million helping them escape with the money. The cartel, they said, hey, listen, we didn't kill your police captain, lady. You can take all that money. That's our saying, my bad, bro.
Man.
So
I'm both jazzed and sad because I'm like, on one level, wow, that movie sounds great. Then my brain is like, man, we used to eat so well.
Oh yeah. We used to have movies like this all the time in the 90s and early 2000s.
Well, because here's the thing: not the last week, there was a lull after the third one. I had a whim to watch Lethal Weapon, and so I was working through the quadrilogy, right? Although Danny Glover and Mel Gibson have hinted they might do a 5th one, and it's like, guys, you are now way too old for this shit. What the fuck are you gonna do? Although I think Mel is probably in better shape. Mel might actually be able to pull it off. The thing is it's been rough with the 4th one, right? The 4th one is very clearly the one that was out of gas, and it shows, right? But still, a 90s era film at its worst is head and shoulders better than a 2000s era slop at its best.
Well, yeah. But this is form. This is the form things should be in.
Oh God, yes.
So we're going to talk about the Oscars because the Academy Award nominations came out. And you did a good job of referencing that.
Yeah. Well, let's start with that one because I want to bring up something. So, when Sinners dropped, it was very contentious in the way you expect. People that were biased one way or the other, right? And I was like, I'm unsure, and I still haven't seen it. I'm still unsure as to its explicit quality. But now that some time has passed, and it's only come up again because of the number of nominations it got. One of the things that people have pointed out that struck me from the very beginning, it's Dusk Till Dawn. It's an Afro-American period piece, Dusk Till Dawn, which we've seen because we saw Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah. The only difference is there's a ending sequence where they gun down the Klan.
Because of course there is.
But let's talk about who got nominated. So first of all, we're going to look at actors in the leading role because that's what's on the screen right now. Now, first of all, of these, I have seen 2 of the roles. I'm planning to see a third one. Ethan Hawke is always a great actor, so I'm sure he did good. I have no idea about Wagner Morgan, The Secret Agent, but I saw
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio in One Battle After Another. He doesn't deserve it.
It's good. I mean, quite frankly, if we're just talking the quality of actors, whether you think he deserves it or not, Leo, Ethan, and Michael B. Jordan is some hot competition.
Also, Timothy Chalamet has won Academy Awards as well. This is a
Okay.
stacked pile. This is a stacked pile. I'm working to see Marty Supreme at some point.
Yeah.
But if it were me, it'd be between Timothy Chalamet and Ethan Hawke because while Michael B. Jordan was good, it wasn't that good. It was interesting, but not that interesting. Benicio del Toro, however, in One Battle After Another, he is a supporting actor, did a lot of good work. He definitely deserves that.
Yeah, that's a much less close competition.
Although Sean Penn's character was really fucking weird, and he did some really good work with that.
Mm.
So that would be, again, that'd be my opinion. The guy who did Frankenstein, who's there, did some good work. I just don't think he's there. I'm not.
Well, was he the monster or was he someone else?
He was the creature.
Okay.
So I mean, again, it's worthy, and I have not seen the one that the Skarsgård's in, but them Skarsgård boys do some good work. So I'm not gonna fault anybody for that. I have seen none of these movies that the actresses are in.
I mean, of the bunch, it's going to be Kate Hudson or Emma Stone, quite frankly.
I'm hearing good things about Hamnet, but I haven't seen it. Now, actresses in a supporting role. Amy Madigan in Weapons was good.
Oh yeah, Weapons was real good.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I want to shake things up before we dig into animated feature film because we know what's winning. We know what's winning already. The thing about Sinners and Weapons, okay?
Mhm.
Because this is very pertinent. This is about the committee. This is about
Mhm.
the Oscars themselves. A horror movie can't win. I don't care how many times Sinners got nominated, and quite frankly, whether it's racism time or not, it's coasting on it's a black film for black audiences with black actors. It's a horror film.
Now here's the thing.
The Academy's full of pretentious art film guys who do not like horror films.
Well, here's the thing though about Sinners. Not Michael B. Jordan, the guy who did Black Panther, the director,
Coogler.
Coogler basically leveraged his reputation to make a power play with the studios to make that movie. So Sinners might be the exception that proves the rule.
It might, but it would break a trend where the Academy does not deign to recognize what they view as basically cheap genre
inferior
films. Yeah, because Weapons was really good, and if you were less cynical about the Oscars, it in terms of genres, it's been a really good year for horror. The fact that horror is on the list as many times as it is a really strong statement.
Mhm. Now, animated feature film, there's really only 2 choices here. K-pop Demon Hunters, which was a cultural phenomenon, and that may actually go against it. And Zootopia 2, which is safe Disney fare.
Zootopia 2 has made too much money. It's gonna win.
I mean, K-pop Demon Hunters has made money, but it's a Netflix thing, so they may
Right, but-
punish it for being a Netflix thing.
Well, yeah, but also Zootopia 2 has been out for less time and
Mhm.
made more money aggregate than K-pop Demon Hunters has total.
I mean, yes, but that's weirdly because Zootopia is super popular in China.
Super popular in China, but it also has the bona fides of being a returning franchise that is also popular here.
Animated short film we're not going to comment on because we haven't seen the animated short films.
Yeah.
I will say casting was very good in Sinners. Casting was okay for One Battle After Another. It was weird, so I'm not really qualitatively good enough to do this. It's going to be between Sinners and Frankenstein for cinematography, I think, here. Although there was some really good cinematography in One Battle After Another.
Yeah, but battle choreography very rarely draws attention.
Well, I mean, it's like a vague 70s aesthetic for the cinematography. So, all right, here's something fun.
I'm gonna give them credit. Avatar might get it for costume design. They might.
But I mean, they're not really costumes; they're digital.
Half naked cat women.
I mean, sure.
But
But interestingly enough, here, Marty Supreme's a period piece, and Sinners and Frankenstein are horror. So this
well,
really
also,
gets.
well, they are also historical, so there is a lot of costuming to go.
Yeah. So directing, you got Paul Thomas Anderson, you got Ryan Coogler. The Academy's going to want to reward them. I think Chloe Zhao got one, so they may be less willing to go for her.
Well, unless they want to, whether she's American or not's irrelevant, because again, we're talking about the Oscars themselves being biased. Unless they want to pander to China by saying, "Look, we gave an Oscar to an Asian."
Yeah. Not familiar with any of these documentaries. We'll just skip that. Documentary thing. Film editing. F1 had good editing because it was a Formula One movie.
Sinners had some pretty good single shot panning, so it might be in the running for film editing.
So Sinners has a really good chance to pick up some good traction. Can't comment on the international films. Can't comment on the short films. Makeup and hairstyling. I think Frankenstein's going to probably get this. Although the Smashing Machine wasn't bad. I think it's going to go to Frankenstein here.
Yeah.
Musical score. Sinners and Frankenstein were both strong for music. I don't know about the other movies in here. And
K-pop Demon Hunters might actually win original music.
Yeah, that might be their token. All right, Best Picture. I have seen most of these. There are some on this list that I have been meaning to see, but I just haven't felt like it. But gun to my head of this list, based on my opinions as of today, January 25th. First of all, I think this would be very different if we put an animated film in here. Frankenstein, but I don't really think Frankenstein deserves it.
I don't think Frankenstein will get it for the same reason I mentioned before. It's a horror movie, and it's a classic horror movie.
Yeah, but they might get it in production design.
They might get it in production design, but I don't think they're going to get it for Best Picture, especially because it has a real problem. And this has always been my criticism of it, is that it doesn't do anything different enough from the Kenneth Branagh film. And the Kenneth Branagh film was universally panned. It did not get any Oscar nods or any attention. at the time.
F1 might pick up sound design.
Yeah.
Visual effects of these, I'd give that to Avatar Fire and Ash, quite frankly.
Mm.
All right, adapted screenplays.
I'm not at the machine, so you're gonna have to read these to me real quick.
Begonia, haven't seen it. Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another. The problem with One Battle After Another is it's written by a right-wing person. And Train Dreams, of the
They-
ones I've seen, I would go with Frankenstein.
Yeah, they might give it to Frankenstein as a throwaway on the premise that while it's an adaptation and it has to deal with the shadow of a previous adaptation, it's at least not an offensive adaptation to the
Yeah.
Academy.
And for writing original screenplay, I have not seen most of these, but this might be where Sinners picks one up. Or Marty Supreme might pick it up there.
Hmm.
But the Oscars is a thing that's happening. It's the infomercial that Hollywood created to tell everybody that they weren't communist, where they now tell everybody that they're communists.
Right.
History is weird.
Hysterical.
And I got one last piece of the puzzle. The Titan Comics Conan releases are actually kind of confusing because they have multiple different lines of Conan stories. So they had Cole, they had Conan, and they had the pulp archaeology adventure character, who Howard loosely implied were all like spiritually connected, like all of his heroes were.
Right.
They got summoned by a Lovecraftian goddess figure that was connected to Set, the serpent god,
Of course.
and they went to a spiritual plane to fight evil.
As you do.
So this was Conan doing Moorcock's Eternal Hero, which that's an
Not
interesting. It's an interesting idea, and like when Conan becomes a fully public domain property, you could do a lot of interesting things with that. Although you might actually get in trouble because Howard kind of inferred that in some of his writings, that several of his heroes were all like spiritual incarnations of each other.
Well, Howard implied that the veil between time periods is thinner than we think.
Mhm.
Because in several of his historicals, various characters who are not ostensibly pulp heroes experience life, death, and renewed life.
Yes.
One of his horror stories is really great. He's dealing with his archaeologist character, and they're just visiting a friend, right? They're just looking at some of his recent acquisitions, and one of them is like a stone axe from the Small Dark People.
I mean, but is it the stone axe?
It's a stone axe, but when one of their members sees it, he is so overcome with atavistic hatred for a peer of theirs who has a trace of the forgotten race in them, supposedly, that he just straight up brains the guy and becomes completely psychotic for a minute. And they don't know why.
I mean,
Because
blood
there's-
memories happen.
Yeah, there's something about the item that imparts a cosmicism to it. That's why I like the short story The Black Stone. If you've read that one.
Which actually, the Black Stone is a recurring plot motif in the Titan Comics Conan series.
Right, because it's an ancient, pre-human artifact worshipped by ancient, possibly Hyborians or Hyperboreans throughout the ages into, at the time, modernity. which I believe ultimately is in one of the Slavic states.
Mhm. But again, I recommend the Titan Comics for their Conan. Their Conan's good stuff.
Yeah. So other things we have on the docket, because we got a bunch of stuff. Unless Ayrton crops up, not so much jokes and food hate.
Okay.
So I don't think there's really much to talk about with Olivia Wilde going yet again. No, we did the children who are wrong.
I mean, Olivia Wilde was supposed to be the next big thing.
And you haven't had a chance to read Paul Giamatti going masks off saying, look, man, it was just a paycheck for me. I don't care what those idiots do.
Well, I mean, he was playing a camp villain in Star Trek. He's having a good time getting a paycheck.
Well, right, but he specifically, if this video is to be believed, blames the creators of Starfleet Academy for its failure. So he's literally saying,
mean-
"It's not my fault, man. I couldn't make gold out of this trait."
I mean, yeah, no, it's largely detritus. And
I don't know. Do we have legs to talk about Batman's found a director or a writer rather?
Well, not really, because we don't know if that Batman movie's even going to happen.
Right. Well, considering that she wrote Birds of Prey, this would basically be another of a films that she has made that doesn't happen. So maybe she just doesn't make them happen.
Birds of Prey happened. It wasn't good. She also helped write The Flash, which wasn't good.
Wasn't good.
And she wrote The Batgirl that is
Didn't
currently
happen.
being held hostage. Well, no, it happened, but it's being held hostage by Warner for tax purposes. Even though eventually Warner will sell it to be distributed. The issue I have is there's the Pattinson Batman movie, and they're very loath to release two Batman movies too quickly together.
Right.
And the guy who directs that Pattinson Batman movie has been going through some health issues, and they're all being respectful of that. They're not trying to dig in on that. So I don't think we're going to get that movie. And more importantly, I think Supergirl's going to be a bust. And
Supergirl is already burning its cachet. They're really hoping that Lobo will save it while pretending that people don't know who Lobo is.
I mean, you don't really need a lot to know who Lobo is. He's a white-skinned alien who rides a motorcycle. He likes space dolphins and murder. Those are all the important things you need to know about Lobo.
Well, because of this film, some people have dug up for sort of take that articles, the fact that there was an attempt at a Lobo redux where they tried to make Lobo look sexy and short hair and make him more, spiritual. And it did not fly. So they quickly undid it because everyone liked Lobo as a greasy biker
who likes to murder things and loves his space
who likes
dolphins.
murder. Yeah.
In the space dolphins, that's important because he doesn't murder just for the love of the game or for money. He does it to take care of his space dolphins.
So here, let's go with something unusual because you can tell me about this because I don't fully get the context. What is Bato and why is it important that it's going away?
Give me a second. Let me look at that.
Quote, important manga news. Losing Bato is the manga equivalent of losing the Library of Alexandria. Many manga that isn't licensed.
Okay, so it was a website that basically preserved lost media manga as well as non-lost media manga, which is technically illegal. And the IP owners nuked that from orbit, including the pieces of the media that they didn't have any rights to.
So that's gone now, and it's not coming back. It's gone forever.
Hmm. I
And
mean,
so there.
back your shit up. What do you want?
But let's talk about Gore Verbinski, because this is something that's relevant to something you know about. Pirates of the Caribbean director Gore Verbinski says
Ah,
CGI in movies is now worse. People started thinking maybe movies can also use Unreal for finished visual effects, like our boy BC-13 does. So now you have this sort of gaming aesthetic entering the world of cinema. And we look at Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, and we look at the CGI of Davy Jones, which realistically hasn't been topped.
well, as a person who has used and studied Unreal, it's not fully fair, but he's also not wrong. It's just that there's a lot of additional stuff there that isn't covered by the comment.
Well, I mean, first of all, people are being lazy with Unreal and how they're
Yeah.
using Unreal in movies. So why don't you talk about this? Because you've actually done some stuff with Unreal Engine.
So when I was studying Unreal to work in the gaming industry, I learned a lot about how to set up a scene, how to build an environment using components, how to set up cameras, and how to alter their timing. Right? You instruct the camera on what to film and where to film, and then you clip and you edit. Very much like real world camera work, but with a digital front. I never made anything qualitative or good. I wouldn't be like, hey, come look at my shit. But I was informed at that time that a lot of people were starting to use Unreal informally to make anime music videos, right? Which is like, oh, that's neat.
They
But
actually call it game music videos now.
but the thing is that it leads to the ultimate issue, which is we have to apply all the other things going on in Hollyweird at the moment. So we start with the studios want to do it faster and they want to do it cheaper. Okay?
And fuck the audience.
And fuck the audience. So the first thing is, well, do they buy an entire sweatshop of labor? No. They buy half a sweatshop of labor. We'll make less people do 2 times the work. Right? Or 3. Then it's like, okay, well, do we give them the time they need to do it? No, we'll give them half the time to do it. So now you're doing 3 times the work at half the time frame you need to really get it done.
And also, after you spend a year rendering, we're going to change 2/3 of the scenes.
Right, we're going to change 2/3 of the scenes. And while we're at it, are you studied in film? Do you know how to use films from the actual camera sense? Right? No. And it's like, and your brain goes, wait a minute, why is that important? Why should I know actual film for rendering on a computer screen? Because that's a separate system, right? No, they are the same system with different forms of access. If I understood how actual filmmaking is done, the idea of the lens and how a shot is made, then I would understand where I should put my camera and how I should access it. Right? And I know this because that was part of my training to help us understand digital film with Unreal. The boss has sat us down and had us watch part of a dissertation on how to use actual film. So things like field of view, distance, why you shouldn't use zoom, right? All of these things. So now we start adding that all together. You have half the team you need working in half the time doing a multiplied amount of labor, and they don't have the training for what makes a good visual to make a Davy Jones, right? But the expectation of a Davy Jones, and we're going to change it in the middle. Well, of course it looks like video game slop. You treated it like video game slop. That's the conditions that video game makers have had for decades. I'm not saying that you shouldn't expect the labor to meet deadline, but your deadlines have to be reasonable. Okay? If you want to make several movies a year, fine, but you've got to slow down. You've got to stop expecting every film to be tentpole, and you've got to understand that you got to spend a little money to make a little money, and some of that means, yes, sometimes you pay qualified staff and you pay expensive staff.
And sometimes that means you have to give people an equity stake in the production.
Right. And it's like, but what about advertising? It's like advertising is very important, but it doesn't matter how well you advertise it if your product is trash.
They've also been cutting advertising.
Right. And if nobody
Because
knows if nobody knows your movie is there and it fails, who do you blame?
What happens frequently is you blame the audience for being racist.
Right. An act of diminishing returns that does not keep going.
Well, I mean, they just disagree.
I mean, they can disagree as much as they want, but their bottom line is feeling it, and not everyone in that studio has a golden parachute.
Yeah. So that's kind of the meat and potatoes of that Gore Verbinski thing. But
well, with that in mind, though, let's talk about golden parachutes. A couple of weeks ago, because we pinned it, but we didn't ever talk about it.
No more Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, Geeky Sparkles commented on a Kathleen Kennedy blurb. Quote, regarding the highs and lows, Kathleen Kennedy shared what it was like dealing with certain fans who had very narrow views of what Star Wars universe should be. The lows that you've got the lows are that you've got a very, very small percentage of the fan base that has enormous expectations. And basically they want to continue to see pretty much the same thing. And if you're not going to do that, then going in that you're going to disappoint them. I'm not sure that there's anything you can do about that, because you can't please everybody. All you can do is try to tell good stories and try to stick to the essence of what George created, Kennedy explained. To which KK said, so KK, tell me why Star Wars is now in a toilet and each show dropped further and further from the last. I mean, if it's just a very, very small percentage of fans who don't like your crap, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, Larry. Why is Kathleen Kennedy's cachet so bad now? What could it possibly have been?
So I actually watched a Critical Drinker's video about her career, and he had an answer. And Critical Drinker could be hyperbolic in places, but he had a good answer. So producer is a vague, nebulous title. If you're the guy who gets all the weed and drugs for the people in the movie, you can get a producer title.
Yeah.
If you do that enough times, they might even let you be the executive producer on something.
Right.
Hollywood's weird. But there are producers who come up with ideas, who massage talents, who deal with the creative people's problems.
And there are producers with very powerful knee pads.
And then there are producers who are like, okay, we need to do this filming. What places in the world will enable us to do this kind of filming with this kind of details? Okay. What do we need to do to get our film crew there? Okay. How much money do we have to work with? Okay. Can we do this instead and make the budget work? That was Kathleen Kennedy. That was what she was really good at. When another star needed to do a production for Steven or George, and their schedule was tight, she tried to figure out, well, George has this good relationship with this person. What if you kind of make a little move in your schedule, and we see if we can help you get this person? That was Kathleen Kennedy's job. And if Kathleen Kennedy had trusted, say, Dave Filoni, not to say Dave Filoni's Star Wars vision is good or strong or effective, but let's say she had, then we would likely have had much better sequel series Star Wars movies, and things would have went well. But there was a trend in Hollywood that you have a certain sort of cachet, high status geek IP director. The example of this is one J.J. Abrams. And that was the strategy they went for with a lot of their directors, that they tried to get, especially the directors in the movies that didn't get made. And that was a bad idea. And Kathleen Kennedy, because she was the person who always made things happen for the creative people, didn't have the ability to step in and say, no, that's not what's best for the business. Because her mind was always making things possible. And the old saying, if your mind's too open, your brain eventually falls out. And, it's a shame.
Interesting enough, this is a perspective I've been talking about recently in game design. Games that are way too open, and they take the power of the ability to say no out of the ST's hands by incentivizing players to be able to do whatever they want, no matter how lore breaking it is. As if a strong, well placed no is a detriment because it's not fun, right? But it's like, look, if I can't tell you no, how can I tell you this won't work? What I find extra interesting about this, of course, is as people were recently talking about, brings us back around to the beginning. We could have had Gennady making Star Wars.
We could have. We could have had him making Popeye.
Yeah, Gennady was asked by George, like, "Do you want to make Star Wars forever?" And I learned, I had always thought that George had made his Clone Wars the way he made it because he was mad that Gennady had shown him up by making a better Star Wars in a Gennady fashion, right?
It's complicated.
That's what I'm saying. It turns out I wasn't true. That George tried to incentivize Gennady to stay, and Gennady was like, "No, I want to go make my own things. I want to do my own stuff." And that's why we got Dave Filoni. Now, I'm not saying Dave Filoni's bad. I'm saying Dave Filoni was the second runner-up.
And also, in George's defense, he couldn't argue that because that's what he did, and made $1 bazillion.
Right.
George can't tell people, "Nah, kids, you don't want to make your own stuff. You want to make my stuff."
Right. But this brings us to the oddity that is Dave Filoni, because Dave Filoni obviously cares about Star Wars. And I know a lot of people want to rake Dave Filoni over the coals, because recently a thing came out claiming that Dave Filoni signed off on everything that happened on The Acolyte.
Well, yes, he did, because he wanted to get the job he has now, which is the creative architect of Star Wars.
Right. But also...
So he had to do what he had to do.
But here's the thing, because you and I have talked about this before. How do you do that? You don't make waves. You don't stand against the monoculture.
Right.
Right? If he had said, no, I don't know if that's a good idea, maybe we shouldn't do some of these extremely bad ideas you're doing, it wouldn't have just stopped him there. It wouldn't have just prevented him from getting that job. Right? It would have outed him from every Hollywood potential front. Because the reputation he would have acquired is, this person says no. This person contravenes the way the waves are going. Right? And and my thing is, he's only one voice among many. Yeah, sure, he signed off of it, but he wasn't the ultimate sign. It still was Kathleen Kennedy's name at the end of the day. And there were a bunch of yes men and officers and secondary, and you don't want to be the one guy who says no in a room of 8 people who say yes.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And you want to say yes in such a way that if something goes badly, you could say, well, I was never really behind it.
Right. Or you could say, well, look, man, I'm as much a victim as you are. My trust was abused.
Yep,
Right?
yep. That's Hollywood.
Um, Now I'm not saying that Filoni's gonna fix everything now, and the glory days have come, right? But he's in the hot seat now, and if he can produce a successful Star Wars something, he's gonna write his own ticket.
And if this Mandalorian and Grogu movie doesn't do well, though, Disney might get paranoid and fire him, which might fuck everything up.
Look, I have a very low expectation of that film, but I will give it this much: it has been in development a long time.
Because it was a season of The Mandalorian that they decided, well, what if we just make this a movie?
Making a movie, and he's working on it. That's the thing; he's been working on it, right? So my hope is that because it has had the time in the oven it needs, that what's coming out is at least going to be a halfway decent turkey and not a meatloaf.
Mhm.
Like a cold meatloaf or a half-cooked meatloaf. I'm
Well,
hoping we get
well-
something nice.
Well, you want to say half-cooked meatloaf, because cold meatloaf can be very good.
I mean, your mileage may vary. I've never been a meatloaf fan, except for the band.
Hmm.
The man Meatloaf was pretty cool. But you get what I'm putting down. We want something to come out that tastes great, looks good, and it has been in the oven a long time. But nothing I've heard about it implies they're gonna take it out of the oven and put it in the freezer and then never talk about it.
Which is, a good sign.
Yeah. At that point, I suppose it really depends on whether or not what's his name, who plays the Mandalorian, has
Pedro Pascal.
whether or not Pedro has burned his cachet or not. Because this seems to be part of the thing, part of the function we talk about on the show occasionally. People seem to have forgotten that your actors can burn your movie.
And they can also burn themselves out.
Right.
They can demand too much of the audience.
I don't know why I was recently listening to it, but I'm reasonably certain you have heard of the YouTube channel that does YouTube comment feeds and various Twitter posts or short posts as music, right?
Yeah.
Did you know that the roast series for Snow White is 4 videos long?
Not surprising.
It is hilarious.
I mean, the Snow White movie was really bad.
Right, but here's the thing. Serious question. What destroyed it? Was it honestly the attempt at the CGI dwarves, or the fact they wanted to
No.
make the dwarves the Burger King kids, or was it somewhere between the main actress running her mouth and Peter Dinklage? Because I
Oh, no,
suspect it was the actors destroying it.
Oh no, it's a it's one of those things that failure isn't is an orphan and success has many parents. Well, in this case, failure has many parents.
Right,
Because
but
first of all the live action Disney movies are about Disney being insecure about their original legacy.
right,
And this movie started off the starting line being insecure about Snow White, which is, one of the greatest movies ever made.
but in this film, like Gal Gadot came off like Paul Giamatti. She said, "Yep, I was in that movie. Yep, I did my lines. Yep, I was awesome." Was it good? God, no.
She was not well cast for a variety of reasons.
Right, but she's never
She
blamed for being culpable for that film being a dumpster fire. That
Well,
blame more or less goes directly to the actress playing Snow White because she decided to pick a fight with the audience.
yeah, and she also decided to pick a fight with Gal Gadot for being
Right.
Jewish.
Right. Like, and at no point did any of the Disney staff, I mean, we assume they did, but like it was never
Oh no.
overt that it's like,
Oh no.
stop talking.
One of the producers flew out to where she was and like saying, "Please don't talk."
Right.
You're hurting the movie. Please don't speak.
I mean, we mentioned the young woman that recently got writer for possibly for a Batman movie. The What Happened? She wrote The Flash, right? Where the
Mhm.
fuck was the studio restraining the kid that was doing The Flash, who was in the middle of doing big boy crimes that, as far as I could tell, he still somehow did not end up in jail for?
Yeah, it's really good if you have a lawyer who gets paid 8 figures a year to
Right,
solve problems for studios.
right. But that movie crashed, and you know that kid did not. That kid's not going anywhere now.
Well, I mean, kids,
Right.
plural, because
Well,
he,
yeah,
he did things
but I
with
think
multiple
only
children.
the kid that was playing the Flash is ruined. I think the other kids
Oh,
will
yeah.
get
Ezra
jobs.
Miller, Ezra
Yeah,
Miller's, you're not
he's
going to
done.
see him in anything for a decade.
He's done. Decade or more.
Yeah,
Like, is like
the actress.
given the style of awful conduct he was involved in, I don't even think he's gonna show up gaslighting on the Blue Movies suite. Like, he's not gonna be in B movies because nobody wants to work with him.
But you know what I thought somebody like him could really do well on? I
Mm,
just came up with an idea in my head.
okay.
Playing an American villain in like Korean and Japanese and Chinese TV shows.
Okay.
That's something for actors who've been burned by the mainstream industry. And with the rise of streaming culture,
Mm.
those shows can give you a gateway back to the American audience.
Is that the secret of IShowSpeed? Is that he's traveled to foreign countries to act like an idiot on the hopes that Americans will take notice of him again?
I mean, no, like imagine you cast Ezra Miller as like
Yeah.
a corrupt American official in Korea who's kidnapping and raping children.
Wow.
So long as he does the part well, he could use that to rebuild his career reputation.
I suppose.
So, have you gotten any pulse from the role playing game people? Role playing game ideas?
Um, I mean, what are we referring to specifically?
I was just asking if you'd had any role playing game stuff that hit your radar.
Oh, I mean, yeah, Hasbro's getting sued.
Mm. Oh,
So, this is not entirely role-playing game related, but it is when you think about it. Hasbro's been going to the cleaners recently,
hmm
and I really wish Church was here. He'd be over the moon about this. The most recent blocks of um, vanity cards are not selling, right? And so Hasbro shareholders are bringing suit against Hasbro over lying to them about MTG because of rumors that they
mm,
are they are underproducing stock,
yeah.
overselling, and that stock has appeared in a Texas landfill,
Yeah.
right? Like, Hasbro, we might be watching the end of the Roman Empire here as far as a board game company goes. Hasbro might die. And
The
that's going to
margins
mean
are
that,
thin.
I'm sorry, what?
I said the margins are thin.
Well, the thing is that if Hasbro goes under, that means that Wizards either will become free or will become a property for sale and can be picked up by somebody else, which means D&D might get a new home.
Or Hasbro might restructure.
Right.
They might get owned by a Chinese company.
Oh God, don't put that evil out there, Ricky Bobby.
I want to end with something good.
Well, actually, I will mention this. I'm not presuming, but if they did end up owned by a Japanese company of all things, Japan has a history of D&D alikes, and they seem to understand how D&D works. So maybe if Japan bought D&D, we'd get some good D&D for once.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you've never looked into the Sword and Sorcery game line, it's
I
real
have.
good.
It's real good. But I would like to end with why Ben and Matt are two of the smartest actors working today. They asked Ben Affleck, who's standing next to Matt Damon, which one he considered to be his friend's best movie. Ben replied, "I'm really looking forward to The Odyssey." At that moment, Matt Damon interrupted him and said, "I've got more than 100 movies, and you pick exactly the one that hasn't even come out yet?" Ben, with a straight face, answered, "I'm trying to promote the movie, and that's how you respond?"
Like I said, these guys have powerful blue collar energy, and I love that they are just a couple of dudes.
Yeah,
I
but
was
I mean,
talking.
realistically, it's like, yeah, man, I'm trying to promote your new movie that's coming out. And
I
also,
was.
I might want to be in a Nolan movie. So maybe I'm trying to make points with you, boy Nolan.
Here's the thing. I was on a podcast Saturday. My friend Wolfgar wanted to talk about the goings on in the goth subculture, and he and I basically ended up streaming for 6 hours. I shit you not. We had like 20 viewers. It was amazing.
Oh, wow.
Right? And we ended up talking about game and various characters. We ended up talking about Byron of all people. And we started talking about dream casting. Who would you cast as various things?
Mhm.
Right? And because Byron is this Famook from Boston, I was like, you're saying Matt Damon could pull off Byron. Matt Damon is from Boston, and they really care about like Boston. Like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck will do really personal, like not shoestring, but low budget films as long as they get to hang out with their buddies in Boston. If we knew somebody in the industry, we could sell them on, hey guys, you want to make a vampire movie about a vampire from Boston?
But yeah, we had a really good session of that vampire game, which we'll talk about more in another bit of show. But what I want to say is,
Well, I'm very curious if Owen was putting down that it was going to be we're going to continue as a podcast as we are, or we're going to be doing a different chronicle.
I'm interested in something or another. But
Yeah.
here's the thing for me about what happened that last game, connecting into this whole thing about the little bit of cop drama stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
what makes a good story in a game, what makes a good story in a movie, are the same thing. And if you're smart about how you run a game as a player and as a game master, you can have the same sort of things come out.
Well, we talked about our associate and some of the interpersonal struggles we had. Nothing major, just every so often you or I would be like, right, but you get over that shit because it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we had basically described with different words and different conversation points was they're very new to Vampire. They don't necessarily understand setup and payoff, right?
But we
'Cause that's
finally got to show it to them. We
right. We
finally showed
got
them what the
payoff.
favorite
The payoff
country was.
landed. I have been planning that diatribe for like since the second session I was in game.
Yeah, once you knew Van Meter was a thing.
Oh yeah, and we've been working up to it, because the ST gave us this antagonist. He built up that this was a guy we could love to hate, right? And he is like absolutely. If this was TV, we'd love to hate this guy, right? We hated him before he came on screen, and then once he was on screen, it's like, wow, you are a piece of shit. I am so glad we hate you. I mean, sometimes you want to meet the guy and like him and be like, oh, I hate that I like you. But sometimes it's just nice to have a villain you can just hate. And we just got to lay into him too. He is so screwed. Even if he somehow walks out of that room alive, he is so screwed. Oh God. that was what amused me about Owen's description of our chicanery. Is he said it was what was it, vampire plus Deadwood?
I mean, a little bit. The whole new Western vibe that we uncovered through play, it was pretty good.
Yeah, he said.
It was
Yeah,
pretty
he
good.
said a Wild West Chronicle out in Deadwood.
Yeah.
I think we are closer to Tulsa King than
Yeah.
Deadwood, but I'll take a Deadwood. If people want to say I'm Ian McShane, I'm down.
Yeah. But we did our 2 hours, so
Woo!
good night, everybody. Hopefully, Church and Ayrton haven't been snowed to death. That would
Yeah,
make me sad.
I know the title says Oscars baby, but it's like no, this was clearly the Snowed In podcast. Snowed In stream.
Us manana people.
Well, before you hit the button, for anybody watching this later or any of our regulars that are trying to catch up, serious question. Since Larry and I are talking about games, would you guys like it if we did more role playing? Do you miss the days of us dipping into the world of darkness, or maybe doing something else? We've talked about it here and there, but we haven't actually done it. And I'm just curious if the audience wants it.
I mean, if nothing else, it wouldn't be a bad thing to do when you don't have a church or an air.
Right?
But now we're hitting the end button.
Yep.